Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? All right, we're going to hit pause on that real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 13 of the Essential Wrestling Podcast. Lucky number 13, boys. This is our Stone Cold Steve Austin in a random submission match at WrestleMania. One of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. And Stone Cold does use, he used the $1 Million Dream, and he had the Cloverleaf, I believe. But, you know, a guy who's really not known for his submission. I guess this whole thing was going to beat Bret Hart to the point where Bret was going to submit, right? That was this whole thing. Anyway, welcome to episode 13. We are here once again, Tyler. Again, being essential in the New York City school system, the Long Island school system. We are here with the first ever PWP champion, the living legend, John DeConnie. How are you, John?
Good. Nice to be along once again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, always glad to have you. And again, we are also joined by John Smith. John Smith, if that is your real name, we really haven't gotten too deep into that. Is that your real name?
Some say it isn't. I've been binging Cheers lately, and I was really hoping that you were not going to sing that whole song.
All right. Well, on today's episode, we got a lot to talk about. There were no pay-per-views. We got nothing. We are on the road to SummerSlam. Our next pay-per-view is in about 3 or 4 weeks. Let's say 4. On today's topics, we have the two-woman power trip is now official. We have new Impact Tag Team Champions. Karrion Kross delivers a very personal message to Keith Lee. The first matches for SummerSlam and TakeOver are booked. And in the main event, the Inner Circle is back in full force. We're going to bring the boom, light the fuse in the main event with the Inner Circle. We're going to be making picks for this week's upcoming shows, which is sponsored, of course, by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. And they're presented by MinutesToBellTime.com. We're going to be making picks throughout the entire show with their graphics again. And guys, I have to tell you, I rewatched last week's show. I owe Minutes to Bell Time a ton of push-ups. MinutesToBellTime.com. Time.com. I kept on forgetting the word time. I owe MinutesToBellTime.com a ton of push-ups. I apologize. I believe Joey Jarzanka on the primetime rundown butchered it even worse, but we won't go there. But, we're going to jerk the show, though, with the question that I recently just asked you. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. Irish Shannon's down on Church Street in Orlando, where apparently the Jameson and the Guinness flow like wine. Jeff Hardy and Sheamus had their bar fight. John Smith, you can lead the way. You were watching Cheers. You had to know I was going somewhere. Very off-key, by the way. I apologize. Not known for my singing.
Hey, nothing against you. I just cannot stand that song. I know exactly how many fast forwards I need to get through that song without missing anything from the.
It looks like you're fast forwarding the first part of this episode too. Then I guess, right?
Yeah, we'll just call this part of the episode Cody Rhodes.
What'd you think of the bar fight?
Oh, I thought it was good. I mean, for a pre-produced match, I think it was really good. The nice spots, nice little senton off the top. He had the hat over his face, and then I thought he was going to come in as Willow, but when the hat came off of his face, but it was just normal painted Jeff Hardy face. But I thought it was a really good match, and I was surprised to see Jeff Hardy get the win, but I liked it.
John DeConnie, John Smith wasn't watching Impact at the time. Was that a Brother Nero thing with the contacts?
It was somewhere between Brother Nero and Willow. That I think that's why the face paint was specifically black and white and not 16 colors, because that was the whole Willow gimmick. That's my best guess.
Okay. And Sheamus actually gave Jeff Hardy a good old-fashioned swirly in that match. That was you haven't seen that in a very long time, especially not in WWE. John DeConnie, are we done with this? We're going to go forward with this? What are we doing here?
I don't know for sure, but I can tell you in my notes, this was one of the first weeks where instead of watching stuff, kind of as background noise and then going back and looking at somebody's, recaps online and reminding myself, oh yeah, that's what happened here. That's what happened there. I actually took notes as I was going along for each show this week. And
Nice.
My notes in this one say, please God, end this effing feud. So I don't know for sure, but I can tell you what my vote is.
Yeah, I think, like I said last week, this ends when Jeff Hardy gets the win, especially in a setting like this, in a cinematic match. I think you can tie a nice little bow around this one. Jeff Hardy wins the feud. And to tie that bow, you want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
That is
probably the last time I sing this episode. I'm not a big singer. I don't plan on singing too often on this show, but
that is a full job on me, and you had no idea that you were even doing it. I love it.
I got something else for you later. Matt Riddle, Tony Nese, had a nice little match. Again, Tony Nese just can't buy a win in this company. John DeConnie, you can lead on this one.
Keeps putting on good matches, but cannot buy a win. A little bit of back and forth, ends with a Bro Derek, and the poor guy doesn't even get to roll out of the ring before he's forgotten, and Matt Riddle calls out Corbin.
Yeah, Matt Riddle with the Bro Derek and the pinfall. Kudos to Matt Riddle, Bro Derek. Kudos to Matt on that one. Yeah, and then Baron Corbin came out. I'm sorry, King Corbin, His Highness came out. Put a ransom or a bounty, or what do I have down?
King's ransom.
King's ransom. I have King's bounty on my notes. I'm Matt Riddle. For anybody who can prove that he doesn't belong here, Tony Nese tried to take the first crack at it. Got bro kicked, or I think he got kicked in his head for his efforts. But Matt Riddle, Baron Corbin, who said we got a couple of weeks heading to the summer's greatest event. What's summer's wildest ride? What's SummerSlam's usually tagline? I don't know. John Smith.
The party of the summer. I don't know.
There you go.
It's usually going Hollywood or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be a good feud. Baron Corbin, he's the ultimate heel. So, you throw a new guy against him and you want him to get over. It's an easy way to get him over. Throw him against Corbin. I don't think it's going to be any sort of gimmick match. I think it's just going to be, Riddle getting beaten up leading up to SummerSlam, and then Riddle gets the win, maybe. Or we don't know, but at this point. But.
Yeah, well, we got plenty of time to discuss that. So if that match is going to end up happening at SummerSlam, we have plenty of time. But yeah, I actually like this matchup a lot. Both taller guys, athletic guys. I think this thing has a lot of promise, in my opinion. Who knows? I know a lot of us aren't very big King Corbin fans, John DeConnie. Corbin fans.
No, but he can put on a good match, and I think Riddle is someone he will definitely mesh with. I think they'll put on quite a performance.
Yeah.
And as long as Riddle wins, then I can go home happy.
That's why you really don't. You don't like Riddle's UFC one. Anyway.
I don't really like Riddle, but I hate Corbin.
Bray Wyatt said on the Firefly Funhouse that the Fiend was unleashed. He was talking to his lantern, John Smith, saying that I'm assuming the lantern that was the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. That he's done. He did his job. No one's still heard from Braun. I haven't received any text from him yet. John Smith, John DeConnie. If anyone heard from Braun Strowman in a while?
Not in here.
Yeah, that was a very I don't want to say un-Firefly Funhouse of Bray Wyatt. He only cracked maybe a couple jokes here and there, but he Fiend's coming. I think Braun's might be in trouble here.
That would be my guess.
Yeah. Oh, shut my pen. Kofi Kingston, we mentioned this last week, took the mother of all bumps through both of those tables, courtesy of Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. We find out on SmackDown, Kofi's going to be taking some time off. And with Xavier Woods injured, John DeConnie, from what I've been seeing on the internet, the people have been wanting a Big E solo run for quite some time now. Kofi said 6 weeks. I don't know how much damage Big E can do in 6 weeks, but how are you thinking about all this? Where do you think Big E goes from here?
I think Big E's a guy that when he was just Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard, I kept reading how engaging he was, whenever people would meet him at signings and whatnot, and everyone kept saying, like, let this guy's personality come out. They put together the New Day, and his personality flourishes. But it's always in a tag match and this, that, and the other thing. I am one who is all for him getting some time as a singles wrestler. I'm looking forward to it.
John Smith, any thoughts of where he even goes? Like, who's maybe his first feud?
I don't have too much of a thought on that. I just hope that if they do push him singles and he does go towards a title, it's organic and it doesn't feel forced. It almost feels like it's going to get pushed down our throats, but from the way that promo happened between the two of them. Like, no, you do it, you go. And then, what's he going to do in the next 6 weeks? Go after, Braun Strowman or The Fiend or whatever?
Yeah, it's 6 weeks is it's kind of a short window here. He's got to hit hard, hit quick, hit fast. I have an idea. We'll get into my idea later with Big E, who I think he's going to go for. Naomi was on Miz TV this week. Now, I believe it was last week. Naomi took 5 in the face and got knocked out by Lacey Evans in a match. The internet world broke out, and Miz and Morrison addressed it on Miz TV. They brought out Naomi. Naomi deserves better, John DeConnie?
Well, I think we, the fans, everyone deserved better than that karaoke segment. So, if that's what that was the genesis of this whole angle, then we all deserve better than that. And of course, Lacey is 1,000 times better as just a straightforward heel. Yeah. The classy Southern belle who's a little bit of a B, if I'm not sure. But yeah, you know what? Naomi puts on a good match, so let's get rid of all the garbage and just let her and Lacey fight. I'd be all for that.
Yeah, well, actually, we'll just go right into it then, because on Friday night we are getting our rematch. Lacey Evans and Naomi are going to go at it one more time. John Smith, who you got?
It's got to be Naomi. Actually, no, it doesn't have to. This could be like the start of like a real, hardcore feud where Lacey does something real heelish, like really beats the crap out of her. Yeah, I'm going to go with Lacey on that one, actually.
All right, John DeConnie, who do you got?
Yeah, I think John kind of talked himself right into what I was thinking. Like, Naomi maybe wins the feud, but maybe it goes all the way to SummerSlam, and it would certainly kick off with Lacey pulling some kind of heel shenanigans and getting the first victory.
Yeah, I don't know. The internet outcry. I think there's something a little deeper to this than what the fans are leading on here. I'm gonna go safe with Naomi on this one. I can see them stretching this. I don't know if this match is gonna be at SummerSlam. It's SummerSlam's not too big for just one night here. I'm thinking if they stretch it across 2 nights, then maybe. But I don't know. I'm just gonna go with Naomi with this one, and maybe Naomi somehow. I don't know. Bayley. They did that already. See, this is the problem with the SmackDown Women's Division is everyone's had their shot at Bayley already, and Bayley's beating them all. Like, she's legit beating them all. The only one she hasn't beaten is Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and they've been off TV for a while now. So I have no idea. But speaking of those two, Bayley along with Sasha Banks, they had a little promo on SmackDown, and Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss came out. Nikki wanted another crack at Bayley. Bayley said, sure, you can have one, but only if you beat Alexa Bliss. You'll have a match. They had their match, John DeConnie.
He certainly did. Nikki and her cracked ribs put on, a yeoman's effort. She missed a crossbody off the top ropes that seemed to hurt her quite a bit. But, at one point we weren't sure if Nikki could continue with her cracked ribs. But she eventually gets the roll up with the inside cradle, gets the victory, and then they hug it out backstage. They're still friends.
Yes, and that's the most important thing. And the referee was checking on Nikki. I don't know if Nikki was doing a little extra, I guess gold bricking is what Bobby Heenan used to say. He's gold bricking. And then, you can kind of see it in Lexi's face because, she's just a flower and a gem and a sweetheart. She didn't want to hurt her friend, and it all just added up in a Nikki Cross win here, John Smith.
Yeah, I think this is the beginning of the breakup of these two. I think we're going to see the two of them fight at SummerSlam, Nikki and Alexa.
Really?
Yeah, I think, it's just Alexa's going to hold this again. And we know who Alexa really is. She was a 4-time champion before any of these girls were sniffing it. And because she actually gets it. She belongs at the top. I hate the fact that she's not at the top anymore, that they just give 4 horsewomen everything now. But, I think that's the way they're going with it. I like the way the match went. It was a nice story they told, and it ended, with the future in mind, I think.
Yeah, and it ended with, we have a SmackDown Women's Championship match, and I'm hitting the wrong button here. It's going to take a while. SmackDown Women's Championship match. They're doing it right away. They're not waiting to SummerSlam. They're doing it this Friday. John DeConnie, you're going to double down on Nikki.
I think I have to, right? That's my girl. And I'm all for getting the gold off of the 2-woman power trip as soon as possible. So, going with Nikki.
John Smith, who you got?
I got Bayley. I think they're going to let them run around with those belts until SummerSlam. Maybe make them defend all the belts. Maybe make them fight each other and defend the belts first, the tag belts.
There's a lot you can do with that.
They lose the belts and then they're really go at it in the main event. That'd be cool.
Yeah. There was a fatal 4-way. There was a fatal 4-way match where the winner got the challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. And if you look at the 4 competitors in there, my pick was, I'm sure we're going to be in complete agreement on this. My pick was Shorty G. I'm like, AJ Styles versus Shorty G would be absolutely incredible. If not Shorty G, has to be Drew Gulak, right? And I don't think anyone's going to complain if they do Gulak versus Styles again. But if you had to pick between the 2 members of the Lucha House Party, you got to go Lince Dorado because he's from Jersey. He lives in Camden. I'm not going to go against Jersey in this one. But this Friday night, the winner of that match, Grand Metalik, of all people, gets to challenge AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. That is that 1-0 right there. Again, these stats brought to you by MinutesToBellTime.com. That 1 win is all Grand Metalik needed to get this match, John Smith.
Yeah, and it's going to be a hell of a match. That's one of the matches that you stay on the commercial and you watch the little box in the corner while they're on split screen. That's going to be how good the match is. I can't wait.
Yeah, and don't think against Grand Metalik on this one with what I'm saying. Obviously, the guy made it to the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic for a reason. The guy can go. He's always been able to go. They shined in the Elimination Chamber this last year. But you got me on that one, John DeConnie.
Yeah, I think what they've decided to do with AJ Styles is unplug him from all storylines and all common sense and normal wrestling, the way things usually go, and just say, let's take this guy. We've got the athlete of a generation here, and let's just find every guy on the roster that we think he can have a great match with. When really he can have a great match with anyone, and let's just let's take 5 seconds of figuring out how we're going to put them together, and let's just go with it. Let's let that be the showpiece every week, even if it's in the if it's at the in the middle hour there. It's not going to be necessarily main event every week, but let's just take AJ and use like a running back in the last year before his contract. Let's just give him 400 carries, and if he blows up, who cares?
Yeah, you're getting money for that. That he's on SmackDown now. Fox to get the ratings. I hear rumors and rumblings that ratings are down. Ratings are always down. Every day you see an article on the internet. Ratings are down. But so that was SmackDown. We're going to fast forward the Raw to last night, and as I mentioned at the top of the show, the 2-woman power trip that I believe one of you guys just mentioned as well is now official. Sasha Banks is now officially the Raw Women's Champion. She defeated Asuka by countout to win the championship. Stephanie McMahon threw that stipulation out there. Something sounded fishy to me. I didn't know. Like I said, what I said last week, if they were going to pull the trigger on Sasha and Bayley starting the feud, that would have been it right there. They didn't. So I think this is going to last a while, John DeConnie.
Yeah, and I guess that normally I would say a BS stipulation like that would drive me insane. But I guess I'm almost happy for it because it allowed Asuka to not have to take a clean loss, because that would have really aggravated me. So I guess this was the best way to go about doing it. I can't believe that they actually did it. I'm not really happy with the fact that they did it. But if this is where they were going, I guess that was the best way to get there.
Yeah, and John Smith, the match started. Kyrie whispered into Asuka's ear, and it's just like, you take Sasha. I'm gonna get Bayley out of here for you real quick. Just do your thing, be the Empress of Tomorrow. Chase Bayley all the way back up, and I guess Bayley caught up to her, or they don't know. Kyrie was getting thrown against the loading dock door repeatedly. Asuka didn't know what to do, and then Kyrie screamed for Asuka's name. I almost jumped through the TV to try to help Kyrie as well. I almost beat Asuka to the punch on that one, John Smith.
I guess it was creative, but I feel like they should have done something else. I hate seeing Asuka value her friend more than the title, because I don't think that's the type of warrior she is on camera. But I would have liked to have seen Bayley come out and clock Sasha with a chair just to get the DQ the other way and get Sasha the win that way.
That would have been funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool, but it's just sad to see Kyrie go, I guess.
Yeah, we'll say our goodbyes to Kyrie at the end of the show. She made it official on Twitter. I can't talk about it now. We'll wait till I do the show, because if I start crying, I'm not going to be able to recover. Randy Orton started the show with a promo saying something was missing, couldn't quite put his finger on it. And he woke up this morning and he's like, you know what? I want to be WWE champion. I do that every morning. I don't know about you guys. Every morning I want to be WWE champion. But Randy can actually go do it. So at the end of the McIntyre-Ziggler match, and we'll get to the match in a second, Randy Orton dropped Drew McIntyre with an RKO out of nowhere, even though he kind of saw it coming because Drew inexplicably put his one hand down. Details, I guess, whatever. But that match is headed to SummerSlam. Drew made that official before the match. Getting to the match, actually. What'd you think, John Smith? I know we discussed it a little bit in pre-production. What do you think about the stipulation? What do you think about the randomness that all of a sudden this was non-title when we were pretty certain that they booked Drew said that this was for the WWE Championship last week?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Dolph Ziggler mentioned something earlier in the show this week yesterday about it. So I don't know. It just seems like oh, screw it. We'll just play it off like they don't even like the audience is dumb. I mean but the Extreme Rules stipulation, that was a little uncreative in my opinion also. But the match itself, I thought was great. So I mean I have no problem with the type of match it was, but I don't like how they got there.
Okay. Dolph Ziggler took a Claymore through a table, John DeConnie. That was kind of tough.
Yes. Bad camera angle on it. We didn't get to see quite the glory of him exploding through that table. But it was like John Smith said, it was a really good match. It's just a shame it kind of had the air taken out of it beforehand by kind of insinuating and then letting us realize it wasn't for the title, and being set up at the top of the show by Randy, basically saying, I want the next shot at SummerSlam. Like they just could have done it a different way. Randy could have hit the RKO and then condensed that 7-minute promo down to 30 to 45 seconds as he stood over McIntyre with a microphone. Yeah. And it would have made the match come off better and maybe made the whole thing a little better.
Yeah, thinking about it, I was talking to, my new best friend Ryan over at minutestobelltime.com, because he was the one that brought it to my attention that was non-title, and he actually picked Ziggler, and that got me thinking, this is completely fair game for Ziggler to win, and then you throw Orton at the beginning saying, waking up, I want to be champion. Like, you knew that RKO was coming. I thought maybe with Extreme Rules or whatever rule stipulation had, that would have happened during the match. Ziggler would have got the win, maybe a triple threat at SummerSlam. I thought they were going a lot of different ways there, other than just McIntyre ending the feud right there and then starting up. I don't know. I think we got 3 different ways here, and we're all wrong because it's just now it's just Randy and Drew, and that's what we get to talk about for the next 4 weeks. So we'll just keep going right now. What's that?
It's going to be a good feud.
It's going to be great. These are the 2 top guys on Raw right now. I don't know who else better to have this, unless Bray and Braun do a cinematic match. I don't see why this wouldn't be the main event of SummerSlam. And speaking of SummerSlam, they had a triple threat tag team match with the Street Profits at ringside. So you had the entire Raw tag team division on television screen at the exact same time. John Nicani, thinking about when that match started, who did you have and why?
I think I would have gone with, it turned out to be Andrade and Garza, and I guess that makes sense because you figure they really want to do something with them, but they've almost been ready to break up since the minute they put them together. So I thought that going to SummerSlam, maybe we would have one last time with the Profits and the Viking Raiders, just because that seems like a SummerSlam worthy match.
Yeah.
But I was not surprised at all to eventually see it turn out to be Andrade and Garza.
Yeah, this match was actually, if we remember correctly, this match was supposed to be at WrestleMania 36 until Andrade hurt his ribs and was subbed in by Austin Theory. I had Seti and Ricochet. I want to see them. I thought that would be a great match for SummerSlam. Not that Andrade and Angel Garza wouldn't be. Well, I guess I would want to see Andrade and Angel Garza versus Ricochet and Cedric. I guess we'll get there at some point, right? There's only 4 teams in this division, John Smith.
Yeah, I had Garza and Andrade winning, but that's mostly because I love Andrade. But...
Oh, yeah. Dominic Mysterio confronted Seth Rollins. This time, instead of jumping him from behind, he actually tried to get him face-to-face. Rollins tried to talk it out. Dominic wanted nothing to do with it. Started throwing haymakers. John Smith, I'm going to leave with you on this one because we got some eye jokes coming up for John Nicani. We'll save those for him. So, John Smith, anything you want to bring in here?
I'm sick of this angle. I don't know. Dominic better be really good. The way that they're building this whole thing. If he doesn't come in and blow the doors down, I don't see the reason to keep this going like this. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, in a situation like this, the only thing you really saw out of Dom Mysterio was he's throwing punches. He was throwing some pretty solid punches. Knock me down. I wouldn't lie. But he was taking some hard sells too. He was getting thrown to the barricade. And then here comes Aleister Black for the save, John Nicani.
Indeed.
we're gonna circle right back to it because Rollins made Murphy do his dirty work on this one.
Yeah, well, we saw Rollins backstage earlier, trying to hype up Murphy and see, are you really along with me? Because apparently, to continue to be a disciple, you're gonna have to do some dirty deeds, if you mind my phraseology there. But Alistair wound up with his face in the steps again, and thank goodness Dominic went absolutely ape with a kendo stick, or else we might have had another fishing bobber on the floor.
Yeah, and I just think it's fun. Our monthly Alistair Black versus Buddy Murphy match may actually be at SummerSlam this year. I kind of hope it's not eye for an eye. I hope we're not starting this back up again, but let's I don't think anyone's going to complain if they just throw those two in like a no DQ match and just, give them a little bit of spice, give them some kind of gimmick in that. Do
you think maybe this turns out to be Dominic and Alistair versus Rollins and Murphy, though?
Yeah, that's a possibility, too. We can discuss that later. We're going to go over what we think is going to happen at SummerSlam if there's time at the end. If not, like I said, we got 4 weeks. We're officially on the road. There's nothing between us and SummerSlam. So, that's all we're going to talk about. All Out's going to be starting against some hype, too, and we'll talk about that later on as well. All Out, I believe, is 2 weeks after SummerSlam. So that's going to be all those stuff's going to be starting up as well. But then Murphy, later on in the night, had a nice match with Humberto Carrillo, which begs the question, where was Carrillo when Aleister Black's eye was... Where was he? Humberto Carrillo was involved in this whole Rey Mysterio with the eye. He was...
Yeah, didn't Aleister Black save Carrillo a week or two ago?
Yeah. Is he like the most selfish SOB on Raw right now? Like, what are they all?
At least...
Yeah, Murphy gave him the Murphy's Law and pinned him. Good for Murphy on that one. Humberto, you deserve that one, pal. You deserve that L. That's a huge L. The VIP lounge featured Mustafa Ali. The reason why I'm laughing is because Raw Creative you could have had what easily top maybe 3 or 4 R-Truth moments of all time, and they blew it, all right? When Truth came out and he went to roll up Benjamin to get his belt back, how awesome would it have been if he rolled up MVP and took that stupid imposter of a United States Championship belt and took off with it? They had it right there, and they didn't do it, John DeConnie.
Yeah, I think they had not that I think Creative had any part in this. I think this is truly the genius of R-Truth, but I think they blew their wad for that segment by just by having R-Truth refer to Mustafa Ali as Mufasa backstage.
Yeah, Mufasa. Ooh, say it again. John Smith, and then it ended up being Mustafa Ali and Bobby Lashley. And Mustafa Ali freshly came back. So he's been off for 7 months. Rumor went around he was doing a lot of watching of videos and stuff. We don't know that for sure, but even he's not impervious to the Phil Nelson.
Yeah, or as R-Truth says, the Nelson from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
How do you not love that guy?
Yeah, that was a great match. I mean, Mustafa got in just as much as he should have before getting his neck torqued out. So, I mean, I got nothing bad to say about this whole segment. I mean, everything the Hurt Business does, I love. And then you put R-Truth in, you make R-Truth part of it, and then with Ali's, skills and acrobatics, I mean, you can't really go wrong with that whole segment there.
Yeah, and then even Akira Tozawa and his ninjas got involved as well. He was trying to roll up Shelton. Shelton Benjamin's got to have his head on a swivel here. A lot of the guys were future endeavors that go for that title, but he's still got 2 very persistent guys that are going to be on him quite consistently.
The ninjas really took some great bumps, too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, does anybody know if that one ninja is still alive that was, in the torture rack or whatever and bounced his head off the ring post?
Oh, my God.
The helicopter spin out there. That looks devastating when Lashley does that. Mark Henry was seen backstage.
We are the nation.
Farouk was backstage last week. Are we going to see The Godfather next week, John Smith? More importantly, is pimping easy?
No, it is not. And
Okay.
I'd more so like to see Kama, the fighting machine, that version of him backstage. I mean, maybe they would do The Godfather just for old time's sake, but I think if it's going to be if they're going to be bringing back the nation, I don't think that the Godfather gimmickiness needs to be a part of it.
No, well, he's in the Hall of Fame of The Godfather. I mean, I don't think he would have his escorts. I believe he's still legit, right? They're not what they used to be called. They're escorts now. He went legit a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
John DeConnie, like, everything's flying around that they're going to turn the Hurt Business into the nation. I just don't see it. But then you had Farouk last week, and now you have Mark Henry.
Yeah, I think if we get a backstage segment of them, pulling MVP aside for a chat, then maybe they've got me. I'm taking the bait. Until then, it may be just a coincidence. I don't know.
Yeah. It just seems like what the Nation of Domination was and what the Hurt Business is now, they're not the same. Like, I don't understand. I guess I understand why people are making the comparisons, but like, they're not out for the same goals here. I don't remember the Nation of Domination wearing suits and ties. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not, MVP's not on this type of Black Panther mission that Farouk was on back in 1997. Like, this is not, I don't know. I guess to be continued, I guess. I don't know, but that's been worse SpongeBob. Yeah, the Nation of Domination is being reformed.
I think this is another one of those examples of here's what you couldn't do anymore today. So
yeah. Good news, Nia Jax is back. I'm sure Tyler's really happy about this one. She's going to be fighting somebody that actually can take some punishment. They had an altercation, her and Shayna Baszler, at the beginning of the show. They brought him out one segment later for a quick 5-minute double count out.
42nd.
Well, yeah. I'm intrigued with these two, to be honest. I'm intrigued with this matchup. I really am. John Smith, I know you. Women's wrestling is one of your things. If I'm going to dub myself the senior correspondent of anything, I will be the women's divisions. So I'm intrigued by this. John Smith.
I don't think I've ever been excited for anything involving Nia Jax until I saw Shayna Baszler come out and confront her, because I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect for both of them. I think it's a great way to get Shayna boosted right up into that title picture after she chokes her the F out.
John DeConnie, the first thing I thought of when I saw Nia Jax, Her Highness is going to be right behind her. Charlotte was, if I remember correctly, and the rumors going around, Charlotte wasn't going to be taking that much time off to get done whatever she needed done. I think this is a nice little thing now, and I like how they haven't had. This is the second time now. Now the first time it was to set up because the three of them were the women's Money in the Bank match. It was those two and Asuka, and they had a three-way which ended in nothing. So like they're fighting each other and nothing's happening, and I like that right now because it's keeping the interest going with these two. So I think the next time they're going to fight again, I don't know if Charlotte's going to get involved or somebody else, and we're still not going to have an outcome.
Yeah, you might be right. All I can tell you is that just like John Smith said, I kind of rolled my eyes when I saw Nia come out, and especially when I saw her, getting anywhere near a microphone. And then Shayna's music hit, and I went, "Ooh, okay." Now I'm all in for this one. So yeah, well, I think those two.
Yeah, no, Shayna wants that belt, and she's made it abundantly clear she's tired of sitting at catering. And Nia Jax mentioned, "I want the next shot," and she was like, "Nah, you're not jumping this line." I kind of felt that she was going to come. I was kind of hoping she would. So,
Nia Jax is not tired of sitting at catering, by the way.
NXT this past Wednesday. Karrion Kross and Dominik Dijakovic fought in the main event, and Dijakovic kind of gave him a run for his money in the first part. It was a lot of back and forth. Karrion Kross looked human for once, which is good. You know, he ran over Ciampa, he ran over Reed. Now he actually had a decent match to see, you know, the human element of Karrion Kross for a while. Fun thing, actually, what I did, I was able to get some stills, some still frame pictures for this match. I want to show you guys just to point out a couple things. Like I said, it was a very good match up until a certain point, and then Kross had the obvious advantage. Keith Lee made his way down the aisle. And you can see right here in this picture, Dominik Dijakovic is telling Keith Lee, like, listen, don't stop this fight. Whatever you do, don't stop this fight. So the match continues, and then here you can see Karrion Kross nailed him. Karrion Kross was just throwing haymaker after haymaker on Dijakovic. You can see the concerned look on Keith Lee's face here. He wants to stop the fight. He wants to stop it. Dijakovic told him not to. By the time Keith Lee was able to, the match was over. You know, he tapped out. Kross, he got him with the straitjacket, I believe, right? At the end. As you can see, Scarlett was very happy with the way this match went. She's there smiling. Post-match, again, Keith Lee is just comforting his friend. He didn't want to get it. He didn't want it to get it this far. Karrion Kross just has that evil look to him, staring down the champion Keith Lee. He knows, Karrion Kross knows what he wants, and is ultimately going to be setting up for NXT Takeover 30. This is the match that we have right here between Keith Lee, the NXT champion, against Karrion Kross.
Oh, wow. You need to give yourself a nice pat on the back for that one.
Well, you know what, John Smith? You need to put yourself a nice pat on the back because you called that whole thing. Go for it. Talk about it.
I was gonna mention it, but thank you for mentioning it for me. And then, I've listened to a few podcasts that I listened to here and there, and they were like, "Yeah, that was just like Rocky IV." I was like, I called that ish.
It is, yeah, exactly. That was like Rocky, but you didn't say it was going to be Rocky IV before the match happened.
Exactly. That's what you get here at the Essential Wrestling Podcast. You get the insight over here.
Senior NXT correspondent of the Essential Wrestling Podcast, John Smith. We're gonna roll right into your next wheelhouse, pal, because Dexter Lumis and Killian Dane had a great match. Again, a lot of back and forth. Killian Dane gave Lumis a run for his money. It ended with that side sleeper hold that Lumis done that can pretty much put down anybody. So keep rolling, John Smith.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that match. It went exactly the way it should have went, and the way I think all three of us thought that's the way it was going. And I just, like I said last week, I just don't like seeing Killian Dane keeping on losing like this. Maybe the Robert Stone brand is the answer.
John DeConnie, anything you want to follow up? I didn't see Robert Stone at all. I know Robert Stone had his own issues and his own thing going on a little bit later on we'll get to. He wasn't anywhere near Killian Dane on this one.
The Stone got him the match, though.
Stone did get him the match, yeah, but he think he would be out there with his client or a potential client,
Yeah, true.
John DeConnie, anything you want to add to this?
I do enjoy seeing the utilization of the Katagatami. But other than that, yeah, it pretty much played out exactly as we saw it coming. And unfortunate for Killian Dane, but Lumis keeps rolling, and that's enjoyable.
John DeConnie, I'm going to let you have the first, because I know you remember the great Canadian law enforcer, the Mountie. And you also, I'm sure you were aware that the Mountie, Jacques Rougeau, and his tag partner, Pierre, right? Was it Jean-Pierre Lafitte? I don't remember.
Jean-Pierre Lafitte, yes.
Yeah, they were the Quebecers, and that was the entrance music. It wasn't the Mounties music; it was the Quebecers music because it was the "We Always Get Our Men." Little side thing that I kind of noticed, but again, Breezango, home run.
You gotta love these two, and of course, hilarious because it was Ever-Rise that they were about to take on. But yeah, those two, they never fail to entertain. Both beforehand when they're goofing around and once they get in the ring and get to business.
And that's what they want. That's what they said. He's like, we'll entertain you before the bell, and then we're going to entertain you during it, doing the thing that we do. Ever-Rise, they've been around for a little bit on NXT. I think they've had a couple matches on 205 as well. I think Morrow, I don't know if it was Morrow or Phillips, dropped that they've been a tag team for like
15
to 20 years or something like that now. And I remember there was something, I was watching something with Kevin, it might have been the bump with Kevin Owens, and he mentioned that like him and Ever-Rise are really close. They did the Canadian circuit together back in the day, but there's good to see Ever-Rise, I guess, a little bit, John Smith. I guess we should get to know these guys.
Yeah, I don't know much about them, but it was a really good match, and the whole Quebecers theme, we're not the Mounties, I love that. But I just want to see more out of Breezango more than anything. I liked Ever-Rise, but I want to see Breezango moving towards those tag championships, because otherwise it's like, hey, you're not old veterans or anything. What are you doing just hanging around in the tag division if you're not going to be going up towards those belts,
Yeah, the worst case scenario is they would have lost that match, but that was pretty much, I don't want to say Saturday morning, jobber match for Breezango, but they did what they had to do. Got the double supermodel kick, and they got the win. They had a rematch at the Great American Bash between Timothy Thatcher and Oney Lorcan. Thatcher had Lorcan was actually the one working on Thatcher's arm for a majority of the match, John Smith, and then he was able to turn it around on Lorcan.
Yeah, another absolute clinic by these two. I wish I had something negative to say. I'm only going positive right now, but I mean, I really got nothing bad to say. I mean, I love the way the match ended, even though Thatcher was getting his arm torn out of the socket. He was able to have the wherewithal to drop his shoulders onto the mat. So, I mean, what does this mean for Oney Lorcan? I don't know. I feel like he's just going to get left in the dust, after he's done with Thatcher. I hope not, but,
Well,
I really like how this went.
I'm kind of thinking, I know Danny Burch has been on since the pandemic started. I don't think Danny Burch is stuck overseas unless he just went home recently. But there's always a tag run that you do with Oney. Plus, Oney's under he's under 205, so he goes on 205 every once in a while. What was I going to say? Yeah, John DeConnie. Not only the Thatcher, so that was 2 weeks now. He used 2 different submissions to get wins. Now he was in one and managed to get the win while getting,
Yeah, he used the heel tactics, and therefore making Lorcan not look as bad because he did technically get cheated. There was some tight pulling that helped with that roll up. And my biggest takeaway from that match, I think, was just the sound. Like, I wanted to put this on my big screen with surround sound of these two slapping the ever-loving daylights out of each other, the chops, and just the sound of this match had me thoroughly entertained. I could have watched it with shades on.
Yeah, we're gonna mention Timothy Thatcher again real soon. But first, Shotzi Blackheart, she got the win over Aaliyah. Robert Stone is in a walking boot right now. I think he hurt his ankle, but he can't bend his leg. I think this whole thing by Robert Stone is absolutely hysterical. But Shotzi got the win, ended up running over Robert Stone's other foot, his good foot. But then she gets jumped by Mercedes Martinez. And that is not a person you want on your bad side. After everyone went into the back, Mercedes Martinez went up to Robert Stone. Do my business, do my paperwork. Just get everything out of the way. I don't want to do any of this stuff. I just want to fight. Make it happen for me. You screw up, you're dead, pretty much. So that leads us to this. Tomorrow night, Mercedes Martinez of the Robert Stone brand is going to go after and have a match with Shotzi Blackheart. Again, these graphics and statistics are brought to you by minutestobelltime.com. Ooh, I got a lot of rocket pictures here. Hold on. John Smith, NXT senior correspondent. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Martinez on this one. I think Robert Stone's gonna help her win somehow, or maybe Aaliyah does, and then this will be a match at Takeover 30. Oh, these two.
Okay, John
Yeah.
Connie.
Yeah, I almost want to go with Shotzi just to see the humor in what Martinez would do to Robert Stone if, he somehow cost her the match. But I think after watching Martinez almost literally take Shotzi's head off and knocking her out of that little tank, I can't go with anyone but Mercedes.
I think Mercedes is going to run her over. I think Robert Stone is just going to sit there with just a shocked look on his face. It's eventually going to happen, though. Stone's going to screw up, and she's going to pop him, and it's going to be funny, but I just don't think it's going to be this quick. But I think Mercedes Martinez is going to completely truck her. At the beginning of the show, before William Regal's announcement, I guess it was a part of Regal's big announcement, Keith Lee, as I think both of you, I believe John Smith had a little more detail. I can't remember who said it. Relinquished the North American Championship. It's not going to be a tournament, but there's going to be a series of triple threat matches, we believe. There's going to be 5 of them. I think maybe it'll be 4, and then a last chance battle royal or something like that. But there's going to be 5 guys competing for the North American Championship, the vacated North American Championship, at TakeOver in a ladder match. And Bronson Reed, he punched his ticket first by beating 2 former North American champions in Johnny Gargano and Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Era. John Smith, I got that one wrong.
Hashtag give Bronson a chance, huh?
Wow.
I got that one wrong, too. I did not see that coming. I really enjoyed the way the match ended, though, the way he did that big splash onto Johnny's arm. Mm-hmm. So, he that whole thing, that was a really good ending for the 3 men that were involved. I would have preferred to see Johnny in a 5-way ladder match. That's what it all came down to.
Well, that's what it is, yeah. And Gargano hit the one final beat DDT on the Strong, and then he went to cover him, and then you're right, John said he hit the frog splash on his arm. Roderick was already out from the DDT, easy pinfall. Yeah, I guess how do you not have either Roderick Strong or Johnny Gargano? Well, ironically enough, I believe are numbers 1 and 2 on the all-time TakeOver appearance list. Not in a TakeOver, but I have a funny feeling one of them will be. As I said, they always do that last chance, type of gauntlet. They did it that they got the Dakota Kai in that ladder match at the TakeOver that that didn't happen. Anyway, John DeConnie, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think we were saying we all I got it wrong, you got it wrong. I'd like to meet the person who got that right, who saw. No offense,
right.
Yeah, no offense to Bronson Reed, but how do you see Roddy Strong and Gargano and not think it's one of them going into a ladder match? And quite frankly, and I love the way the match played out, where once again, no offense to Reed, but he took a bump, rolled out, and was gone for a little while, and Gargano and Roddy tore it down for just almost 5 to 7 consecutive minutes of like chain wrestling. High spot after high spot. I could watch those two in an Iron Man match easily.
Yeah, it was I thought that match really did Bronson Reed right. Like, the 3 of them started the match, and Strong and Gargano looked at each other like, all right, we got to take the big guy out first. And then they struggled with it at first. Reed was doing all these powers. It was like almost like, the 2 midgets on King Kong Bundy, I guess, type deal. Like it was. They made Bronson Reed look really good in that match. Yeah, there he is. That guy. So Bronson Reed becomes the first of 5 to qualify for the NXT North American Championship ladder match at TakeOver 30. The second person will be the winner of this Donnybrook of a match tomorrow night on NXT with Finn Balor, Dexter Lumis, and Timothy Thatcher. That's an incredible grouping right there, John Smith.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these guys. I mean, at first thought you think, oh, it's going to be Balor, but you know, Dexter Lumis has been getting pushed to the moon. Like, how does he not end up with that belt over his shoulder around his waist at the end of this? I mean, I didn't know who was in the matches, but I mean, I thought from the start Dexter Lumis is going to be the one coming out of this, so I got to go with him in this match.
All right, John DeConnie, who do you got?
Once again, total agreement in the fact that I don't think there's a wrong answer creatively. Any of those guys, I think, would be great in the ladder match. I'm going to go with Finn just because of the fact that we already know what's happening at the top of the card. It's going to be Lee and Karrion Kross. What are you doing with Finn Balor on NXT if he's not going to be in that ladder match? So, again, I wouldn't be surprised to be wrong, especially not if it was Lumis, but I'm going to go with Finn just because what else are you doing with him?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Finn as well because Finn, for a couple of weeks now, said he's been gunning because he wants that North American title. So I think he'll be in the match. I think this is how he gets in. But how do you keep Loomis out? How do you keep Thatcher? Who's in these other triple threat matches that hard?
Seriously.
I didn't really look at the roster because I was looking at other things. But I got to look at the NXT rosters. My jaw hit the ground last Wednesday when I saw that they booked this match. I want to go with Finn. Like I said, I would say how do you have a takeover without Finn? I mean, you obviously can. But his eyes have been on this prize for a long time now. So I feel like this is where he's got to at least be in it. And then actually, John DeConnie, you said you could watch these guys wrestle all day. This was announced a couple hours ago. And kudos to Ryan from MinutesToBellTime.com. Got me this graphic. I texted him at around 4:50, and in 4:55, this graphic was in my inbox, ready to be TV ready. So kudos to MinutesToBellTime.com and Ryan. Great guy, great site. Love the staff, love all of this. But these two love this match. John DeConnie, you had the excitement for this one. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible. You know, I'm going to go with Gargano just because he's kind of my guy on NXT. You know, I'm a little late to the party with NXT. I wasn't watching as much as I think you two fellas were from the start. But I'm going to go with Gargano just because he's my dude.
John Smith, yourself, what do you got?
I think I'm going to go with Gargano also. Yeah, I don't know why. I see him winning this match.
Well, Johnny's got the push and the gimmick working for him to move forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Undisputed Era has just been falling apart at the seams. Kyle O'Reilly's nowhere to be found. I think he's still making a movie. If he is making a movie, I don't know if that's a rumor or not. Somebody said that was a rumor. I thought he was out making a movie. Cole's yelling at people on podcasts. Trust me, we're not going to have Adam Cole on this show anytime soon. We're going to let him cool down a little bit. Bobby Fish and Roddy, everyone, the Undisputed Era has just been lost lately, and Roddy needs this win. Roddy needs a win. Like, he needed that win last week and he didn't get it. They need something going forward right now. God knows what's going on with the Undisputed Era.
I think that's the story. I think that's the story they're telling, though. Like, now the Undisputed Era is going to start to fall off a bit, and then they got to get their mojo back. So that's, you know. Plus, I also think that Adam Cole thing was a work.
Well, there's been apologies and stuff, and I saw Triple H went on Pat McAfee and apologized for everything. You know, it was unprofessional and this and that. He got egged on, though.
If you watch the whole thing, McAfee never ever. I listen to the Pat McAfee show a lot, and I've never heard him treat a guest the way he treated Adam Cole from the start. Like, he was
wow.
He was aggressive, but passive aggressive with him from the get go, and then Adam Cole finally had enough of it. I think it was all work.
we have new Impact Tag Team Champions, boys. Motor City. John DeConnie.
Yes,
As our
sir.
senior Impact correspondent. Take the lead on this one.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. We had Motor City Machine Guns defeating the North and ending their record reign as tag team champions. It all wrapped up, a stellar match from start to finish. The Machine Guns are they're just incredible. I can't get over every week. Every time I see them, I'm just impressed. It all ended with Ethan Page going for the kiss of death, Sabin rolling him up, and simple roll up while Shelley tackled Alexander to keep him from breaking up the pin. New champs. Beautiful.
John Smith, I think you said you watched Impact this week. All right, we're on 2 weeks in a row plus a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
A, are you sold on Impact yet? And B, what did you think of the Machine Guns?
I'm not sold yet on Impact itself. I'm sold on a lot of the wrestlers.
You're never going to be sold.
What's that?
You're never going to be sold on it. Just keep watching.
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying, I'm sold on a lot of wrestlers that they have. I mean, the Motor City Machine Guns, I'll make sure I say that very slowly, that they pulled off 2 awesome matches in a row, and I had never even heard of them as a tag team beforehand, and, I'm totally on board with them. I picked them to lose, so obviously they won. Just keep up with my picks in this, and then go the opposite. It's that's the way it's going to be. But I am enjoying Impact from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, so Bound for Glory's, I believe, end of October. So they just got to get a couple months out of them, get them to Bound for Glory, and I'll be happy with that. Even if not, like the fact that we got these 2 weeks plus whatever coming up, title defenses. Oh, to be a kid again, John DeConnie. To be a kid again in my 20s, rooting for the Machine Guns.
That's it.
Moose. Wants to be a fighting champion, so he puts up the TNA championship and doesn't tell his opponent until about 5 minutes before the match starts. So blah, blah, had no clue he was fighting for the TNA championship and for Moose. So that's pretty good. Nice little heel tactic by Moose, but then he had a little surprise waiting for him post-match. And I believe somebody mentioned that belt is very precious to somebody.
Yes, indeed. We had Moose winning with the lights out, aka used to be the no jackhammer needed spear, and then as he celebrated with his upgraded white leather TNA championship, a certain gentleman who had started the show with a vignette telling us all to control our narrative took control of his. EC3 jumped in the ring and hit Moose with some kind of reverse DDT. I'm not sure if there's a name for it yet, but so we know exactly where another presumably returning star is headed in his first scrap.
Yeah, you say presumable. I guess kayfabe. What's the one that's real life? Is that real life or kayfabe? I don't know. In real life, they all took that group photo. Telling the WWF or the WWE, wow, that's like 50 push-ups, right? That's 50 push-ups, and I gotta do with a panda on my back. Telling everybody in WWE that they're number one. EC3 was a part of that, but Josh Matthews kept on saying he doesn't even work here. So did he lose? Did somebody? I think I saw something. Did he lose a match to get fired in Impact before he left?
Honestly, don't recall.
All right, I gotta look that up. John Smith, what do you think of EC3's new look, his new attitude? This isn't the EC3 that we saw at NXT, and we hardly even saw him on Raw. So,
yeah, this is completely new EC3 to me. I'm only familiar with the NXT / failed WWE run of EC3, where he never really got to cut any promos, and he wasn't the best in the ring, but he wasn't. He's kind of generic. But from what you've always told me, he was always awesome in the ring or on the mic. So I'm happy to see that. I don't know about his look. I don't know about the whole goatee thing. I think he's more of like a clean-shaven, like pretty boy type, but we'll see how it works for him.
I remember there was one Raw way back when a wrestler by the name of Dean Ambrose wrestled for WWE. EC3, I guess, he had a match with EC3. And every time EC3 went to talk, Ambrose pulled the mic from him. And it was just like, everybody knows that if EC3 gets on a roll, like, he doesn't stop, and he is incredible. And I'm sure they told, that was a part of the script for Ambrose to do that. But it was just like, they're really just not letting him talk. Same with Rob Van Dam back in the day. They're really just not letting him talk. Cool, right? Cool, whatever. Chris Bay retained his NXT championship, John DeConnie, in Willie Mack's rematch.
Yes.
X Division, wow.
That's okay. That's okay.
I got the X right?
It's okay because now it's technically the finesse division, so it's
finesse division.
So
he's doing that springboard cutter or springboard stunner, dude. He flew like 3/4 across the ring backwards to hit Willie Mack this time. That was some athleticism right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not quite as good as when John Cena did it, but the 2 times that he attempted that. But yes, those two put on another great match, and Willie Mack, can, even at his size, he is a thick fella. He can wrestle that X style, and Bay is a true flippy guy. He is all over the place. Now they put on another really good match, and I guess that puts, the period at the end of the sentence as far as Willie Mack goes, and hopefully, even maybe he disappears for a couple of weeks, but hopefully he's moving up the card because I can certainly see him at least contending for a title shot up the card.
Yeah, especially, and we'll get to Eddie Edwards in a quick second because Eddie's going to be a fighting champion here. I'm sure Willie's going to get a shot. John Smith, I'm sorry. This is the second time you saw both Chris Bay and Willie Mack against each other.
Yeah, I like this match just as much as I like the one at the pay-per-view. I think Willie Mack should be moving up the card, like John DeConnie said, and I'd like to see him be the first feud for Heath Slater in some sort of way. I would like them to work that out.
We'll get to Heath in a second too. We had a knockout tag team match. This feud's been going on for a while. John DeConnie, we talked about this. Feud's been going on a while. This was the first time I think it's been a tag team match against each other. There's been singles matches. They were on opposite ends of that 10 knockout tag team right before Slammiversary. It was every man for themselves, every knockout for themselves in Slammiversary. But Havoc and Avia got the win over Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan by disqualification. I'm not sure that should have been a disqualification, and I don't know. Tasha Steelz is from New Jersey. How is she swinging a chair that badly? Like, she put your hips in just like, dude.
I don't know. She did not learn the proper swing there in Brick City, but regardless, Havoc. I think there's a lot of people who could hit Havoc with a chair and her not move much. So,
yeah.
She's a sturdy gal. So.
John Smith, anything you want to add to that? Because that's really the only point. You've got to teach Tasha Steelz how to throw a chair, especially if your last name is Steelz. Like, come on.
Yeah, just get her an Ice Cube CD and play her. You can do it. Put your back into it, and maybe she'll get the idea.
Some quick hits, real quick. I'm gonna steamroll right through these just to keep everything rolling here. John Smith, as you mentioned before, Heath. Kind of is an impact. He still couldn't get in the building. Tried to call Rhino. Rhino didn't answer because he was having his conversation about that arm wrestling match and the money with Hernandez. The guy interviewed him. His name's just Heath now. You can't use his last name anymore. That was a fun quote. Ken Shamrock took full responsibility for their loss at Slammiversary, which shocked a couple people. Sammy, you kind of saw that maybe coming to fist where Shamrock would fight back, but Shamrock agreed with him. So maybe we were correct in saying that it was just a little bit scripted that he looked so lost in that match. But Shamrock's taking responsibility for it. Good to see RVD back on TV again. So, he got caught up with the whole cancer culture thing. And Joey Ryan, who's not in the company anymore, so they kind of just put RVD on a back burner for the time being. Katie Forbes has something to do where she's revealing pictures tonight on Impact. Not exactly sure what that is yet. Like I said, Rhino and Hernandez had that quick fight. Rhino gored him right at the bell. That was great to see. He won the other half of that money that he won. That was the stalemate in the arm wrestling match. They ran a quick promo. Brian Myers, artist formerly known as Kurt Hawkins, he's in Impact now. He officially signed, and he was a part of that WWE alumni picture from Impact. And then tonight as well, we're also going to find out right here the medical update on Rich Swann. Rich Swann took a beating at the hands of Eric Young in the main event at Slammiversary. So we're going to get an update on him. John and Connie, real quick before we get into the matches tomorrow night. Wrestle House. Now, I guess it started with, it was supposed to be a one-on-one with Rosemary and John
Rosemary.
Bravo, and what happened?
Rosemary and Bravo were supposed to finally get their alone time. But I guess Bravo failed to mention that he was taking Rosemary back to what presumably is Taya's place. And she comes walking down the stairs. Hey, how's it going? And then it turned into a party. And Rosemary started snapping her fingers and conjuring up 2/3 of the roster to show up and have a blast. And it ends with a very 80s Miami Vice kind of graphic for Wrestle House coming next week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were on the Impact website today, you'll see they have a little 40-second commercial for it because as the bit ended last week, Josh, as always, was just simply confused, having no idea what Wrestle House is all about. But apparently it's, what happens when 10 wrestlers, 1 wrestling manager, and 2 stuffed animals stop being polite and start getting real. I don't know how much they're going to absolutely rip off the real world. But, apparently it's going to be 12 people in a house, and the hilarity ensues. I don't know.
Anything with Johnny Swinger and Crazy Steve in the same house, it's going to be gold. Those two alone are going to be gold. Everybody else you can think may be questionable. Crazy Steve and Johnny Swinger are going to steal the show on that one. All right, going into tonight's picks, the Good Brothers making their Impact debut. They're going to run against John Smith. These are your boys here. I think you're going to finally see them in action. Reno Scum.
Yeah, I like to call them Bebop and Rocksteady. It looks like the guys that were before they got mutated in Ninja Turtles 2. Exactly. I mean, that was Toka and Razor. I'm not mixing up my guys, but it looks like Rocksteady. But I'm going with the Good Brothers on that one.
There's no reason not to go against the Good Brothers in their first match. Like I said, they were confronted. They came out, had a beer in the middle of the ring again. They were confronted by Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. And then Reno Scum jumped him in the back on behalf of Ace Austin and Madman Fulton to set up this match. John DeConnie, who you got?
Yeah, you got to go with the Good Brothers. They're not going to debut and take a loss to not even the guys who they probably will feud first with in Austin and Fulton. So.
Yeah. I just think Luster the Legend is such a great wrestling name. Such a great name.
Yes.
I spy a Jersey girl here, boys, and I spy a champion as well. Impact Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo had a little bit of an altercation in the back with with Kylie Ray. And I believe Kimberly got involved as he was trying to hold Deonna Purrazzo back. Purrazzo pushed her, which, when you push somebody, it leads to a wrestling match. So, John DeConnie, who do you got?
Yeah, well, it's non-title, so, I guess you could make an argument for Kimberly, but Purrazzo's not too much of a role. They've written in that she separated Jordan's shoulder, so we're not going to see her get a rematch anytime soon, doesn't look like. So I assume Purrazzo is going to roll over Kimberly on her way to Kylie Ray.
John Smith.
Yeah, I totally agree. The champ wins.
Yeah, you can't bet against Jersey on this one. Eddie Edwards came out the midway point of the show, addressed the Impact Universe, so to speak. Is that what they're called? Impact Universe.
Sure.
He said the Impact Championship has been off TV for X amount of months. He wants it on every week. He wants it defended as much as possible. So here comes Trey backstage to be the first one to challenge him. I guess Eric Young wanted to be the first. I don't know if Eddie Edwards said no. I guess maybe they're saving that for another date. I guess there wasn't an answer to Eric Young's challenge when they got into the fight. But Trey's going to get the first crack here at Eddie Edwards and the Impact Championship. John DeConnie.
Yes, sir. Eddie Edwards going to be a fighting champion and return stability and credibility to this title. And I don't see any reason why he doesn't. It's not going to be a walkover. I think Trey's quite a talent. They'll probably put on a heck of a match. But Eddie, I believe, will retain.
I'm going to agree with that. John Smith?
Yeah, everything he said. I don't like the fact that he's going to be get taken on a new challenger every week. It's the world title. I feel like you need to earn those shots. It shouldn't just be an open challenge. But I mean, restoring credibility after it hasn't been on TV in months is definitely, a good reason to do it. I just hope they don't do it for very long.
All right, so we're going to switch gears now. The main event of the show. We're going to light the fuse. We're going to bring the boom. Dynamite, and I say that, and actually going back to Impact real quick, right when I started using their lyrics for their music, they changed it. There's a whole new outlook, a new intro, new music. This is my time to shine. I can't even do that anymore. So anyway, but I still got Light the Fuse. I still got Bring the Boom. I still got Dynamite. The Inner Circle is back. John Smith. Did you know Serpentico was Sammy Guevara?
That one kind of I didn't put two and two together, to be honest with you. I feel like in retrospect, how did I not know that was Sammy Guevara? But I mean, I like the fact that he's back. It's just I wasn't expecting it so soon.
You know what the funny thing was? They show the wrestlers in the AEW crowd. They always do the camera shot with them. You know who's watching. You know Sheeta's watching. When Kip Sabian's watching, whatever. And that was the first time. Who the hell is that guy in the mask? And then it was Serpentic. I'm like, what? They keep on putting the camera on Serpentic, and then he jumps in. Like, oh my god! Like, what the hell is going on? Sammy, John DeConnie.
Yeah. I think. I never would have, if I had been watching Dark, because apparently Serpentico had wrestled a couple of matches on Dark, I certainly wouldn't have put it together. But the minute he jumped in the ring, I went, oh, okay. I see where this is going.
and Excalibur tried to sell. The Serpentico joined the Inner Circle. I just sit there and whine, like, something's not right here. You don't know when Sammy's suspension was going to be up. Any quick comments on Sammy's suspension? Too long, too short, just the right amount? Anything real quick, yes or no?
I mean, it was only, what he said was pretty horrific, but yes. It was only words, and, so they took him off TV for a little while. I guess if they don't get any blowback, I'm okay with it.
He shouldn't get blow. I mean, let's say.
It was many, many years ago, too.
It was, and he was a kid trying to sound cool on a podcast. There was no malicious intent, and he apologized to Sasha Banks for it. So I think just let this go. I think last week, John Smith, you're right there. I think Sex Gods has to go.
Yeah,
that's to be retired. But anyway, Sammy Guevara ended up helping Jericho and Hager get the win. He hit Luchasaurus with Jericho's bat. Jericho turned it into a code breaker. And he got the win. So the family's back together again. The Inner Circle's back together again. They're probably going to main event the show next week. We'll get into that match in a little bit. But we mentioned Sammy last week. He showed up. We randomly mentioned Eddie Kingston last week on the show. And then right before our eyes, Eddie Kingston was the open challenger for Cody's TNT title. John Smith, you said you liked that. He said, well, I know it's a Cody match, but I think you watched this one. I think you liked this one.
Well, I was intrigued because when the show first started, I didn't have to suffer through the Cody entrance. He was already in the ring. So then I figured, okay, let me see who the heck he's going up against. And then this dude comes out. I'd never heard of him. And he cut a hell of a promo.
He did.
He did. And so it made me actually want to see him beat the crap out of Cody. I knew he wasn't going to win. I just wanted to see him hurt Cody, and he did. So I got what I wanted out of watching that match.
Those, the spot with the thumbtacks, that was very Randy Orton-esque from Backlash all those years ago with Foley. You don't see too many people take tacks like that, John Connie. That was tough.
No,
those were long tacks too. They had to close up.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because quite often when the little satchel of tacks comes out, someone will take a spot into the tacks, and you'll be like, "Oh dear God!" And when they get up, there's just a couple of them stuck to them, and sometimes you think they're stuck by perspiration. Cody was a pincushion.
I know.
I mean, they were everywhere. They were stuck in. And where 50% of them weren't there anymore, you could see little blood spots. That was as real. That was as real as it gets in terms of taking a hardcore spot.
Cody ended up, he worked on. And the funny thing was, Eddie Kingston had me because he kind of just randomly his knee. And I thought he actually did something to it. I'm thinking it was a work just with the way the match ended up. But Kingston, he sold it. He had me actually believing that his knee was blown out during that match. Cody won with a figure 4. That's in his arsenal, if I do remember correctly. So to use that wasn't just a random move from Cody. But I believe that is now title defense number 6 for Cody. And we will get into number 7 a little later on because he's right back at it tomorrow night. The Young Bucks defeated the Butcher and the Blade. And John Smith, I laughed at in the beginning of the match. The Blade and the Butcher were a little late to the match. They were working. They were in the kitchen, cutting up some meat.
Yeah, I like the way that started. Yeah, that was. I mean, it was a fun match all around. I loved all the spots they did. I didn't see that it ending the way it did, but I'm not upset about it. It's just I don't know where they're going from there. I mean, I guess it's just to show that the Bucks are more than just flippy in the ring guys. I guess that's what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, they're flipping out of the ring too. They were jumping off everything not nailed down. Like I said, they're jumping out of ambulances, jumping off entrance ramps. So yeah, I thought that was a fun match all around. You win a brawl every now and then up here, the Young Bucks, Sean Connie.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they spent a good amount of time on the concourse. They got to jump off of every beer stand and hot dog cart, and at one point the mat rig, the truck out back with their own faces on it, and and it ended up with those stereo drops from the dual entryways, and wow. It was quite entertaining.
Okay, yeah, I got it right. Yeah, so that was fun. So they got the pinfall. Matt. I was gonna say Matt and Jeff. Matt and Nick. Nick did the swanton off the entrance ramp. Matt hit the elbow. Simultaneous pin. Bucks should have won that. So we all picked the Blade and the Butcher. We just thought maybe give them a chance. They've been doing a lot of work lately. They've been doing a lot of good work lately too. Couple quick gloss overs right now. MJF. Funny segment. He talked a lot, but he got that heat seeker pile driver on Griff Garrison. I believe was his name, and I can't remember any of the jokes MJF used. I think he called him an oversized Jungle Boy or Jungle Man or something. I don't know. MJF served his purpose. I believe he's coming on tomorrow night with the state of the industry address, so he's gonna be talking a little bit more tomorrow night as well. And also, I'm gonna make sure I get this right. Rule number 4 for being a role model: never count out a role model. So Britt Baker had reconstructive nose surgery, but she once again vowed she's going to be ready for All Out. So, like I said, there's only a matter of time here, due time, before our beloved dentist is back in the ring. Speaking of the women, now I'm excited about this, but I'm a little questioning. They announced a women's tag team cup tournament called the Deadly Draw. They said it's going to happen this summer. They didn't say when it was going to start. I can only assume it's going to be ending at All Out the way it's lined up. They said 16 women, so it looks like you're going to be dividing them up into 6 teams. But if you look at the list of the roster for AEW right now, we have 10 women that are active. You know, Sheeta, Abaddon, Alley, all the way down to Penelope Ford. Big Swole suspended, so we'll make sure, you know, she's not officially active, but she's 11. Britt Baker, she's not due back until All Out. Chris Statlander is going to be out for a while. And then you got that list, that bottom 8, who I believe they haven't been on TV since the pandemic started. They are all from international countries as opposed to domestic countries, I guess. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They're all from other countries, is what my point being. I believe they can't get stateside. So you have 10 with the possibility of 11, maybe 12 if you rush back Britt Baker. There's going to be some surprises in this.
Certainly think so, yeah.
So we don't have to get into this now, but I just want to put that on everybody's radar. Just get a list in front of you, a visual of here. Like I said, the senior women's correspondent here, the athletic supporter of women's wrestling.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking as I watched Impact this week, you know, their women's division is so stacked. Why aren't they bringing back the women's tag team championships? And then AEW, who barely has a women's division, suddenly is announcing a women's tag tournament. So,
Madison Rain's mentioned it too a couple times. I don't know if that's what you said in the beginning. Madison Rain has mentioned a couple times that they should bring back the Knockouts tag team titles.
Yeah.
But in the women's division, okay, so we got our first look at Ivelisse and Diamante. John Smith, we'll lead with you because you didn't know either of them. So what was your first opinion on these two?
I don't have much of an opinion on either one of them right now. I thought the match was good. I just, you know, I don't have much else to say other than that. I mean, there were no botches. There wasn't anything that intrigued me either. I mean, I think Diamante should have won based on the way the match went. But other than that, and she did win, but
yeah, she did win. She got the small package, I believe, small package for the win. John Licani, your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, it was not a terrible. It wasn't a botch fest, but it was not a terribly crisp match. I think perhaps the point in making them face each other was so that it could be mentioned by the commentary team that they previously tagged. They previously were a team on the independents, so you know, in all likelihood, they'll probably be a team going into this tournament.
And they were in that. If you looked at the promo for the tournament, they were both in it. And like I said, they're regular. I mean, you'll see right now. I think that Ivelisse, that was her debut. Diamante, due to the win, is going to have a shot at the champ here. The title's not on the line. But as you can see, Diamante, you know, she's been around for a couple matches. I don't know if some of those matches were on Dark or maybe they were.
It would have had to be.
Yeah, I guess they had to have been. But you know, she's got Sheeta up now, and Sheeta wants to, you know, defend against new people. Mostly because everybody else is not around. You know, that list of top contenders, they're not even stateside. So, who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to go with Sheeta. You know.
Yeah, so hopefully that, you know, like I said, you're exactly right. Go back to the Ivelisse match. I didn't put my 2 cents on it. Yeah, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox. Like, I know that's kind of an unfair balance right there, but you can see the speed levels between the two, you know. And NXT is supposed to be developmental, right? maybe you put her now. You're going to see her with the champ, the best that AEW has. Let's see if she can pick it up a notch.
Sure.
I think Elise maybe she'll be able to pick it up a notch, and then maybe in the tournament, like I said, they're both from Puerto Rico, I think. Diamante and Elise.
Evilise definitely is. I think when Evilise waved the flag and said Puerto Rico, I think Diamante may have said like Cuba, but you know.
Diamante is still sporting the LAX shorts too. I don't know if you caught that. She still had them on. I think. And then it's just going. Speaking of predictions, I'm going to take a stab right now at the Deadly Draw. I have a funny feeling this has got Brandy Rhodes and Allie written all over it, but we'll discuss that, I guess, later. You have any early predictions on that?
No.
No.
Any early now? All right.
I could definitely see her booking herself to win. That's what her husband does, you know.
Yeah, I'm John. I want to make sure I say that now, just so you can get that comment in, and then Taz and Brian Cage had a promo. Taz explained the whole throwing the towel thing in. Again, he knew Brian Cage wasn't going to give up. You know, he wanted to save his career, fight another day. You'll never get Brian Cage in that position again, yada, yada, yada. Here comes Darby Allin. But then here comes Ricky Starks and almost decapitates Darby Allin. That was pretty horrific. And for those of you that missed it, they showed a quick clip. I guess on AEW Dark, Ricky Starks has now aligned himself with Taz. As well as Brian Cage. So I guess, Taz is building his Hurt Business too. So but that's leads us to this match coming up. You got Brian Cage and Ricky Starks going against Darby Allin and the AEW champion Jon Moxley. And I guess I missed that match too. It was like Mox and Allin have already teamed up together at one point. According to the stats from minutestobelltime.com, which are 99.9% accurate. I haven't seen them been wrong yet, but you don't want to say anybody's perfect unless they're Kurt Hennig. So let's just go 99.99%. Who do you got in this one? Don DeConnie.
You know what? The way welcome back Darby Allin. Here, take some of the most vicious bumps I've seen in months. Almost getting your head taken off by the ropes, then getting a power bomb on the stage, getting power bomb tossed back into the ring. I could see a scenario where he takes the fall and allows Cage to continue rolling momentum. So I guess I'll go with
maybe Maybe he gets to start getting some of it back. Yeah, John Smith.
Yeah, I got Cage winning this match because of the basic same reason. Plus, I mean, he needs to do something to make us forget what's happened in the past couple of weeks between the towel getting thrown in and him just being Taz's puppet. So I think he needs to take charge and just destroy in this match.
I'm going to go with Moxley pinning Ricky Starks. I think Ricky Starks is going to get pinned. So I'm going to go with Moxley and Allin on that one. I think Starks will. Why not? I'll go against you guys just for the sake of going against you. Screw it. I didn't put too much deep thought into this, but you guys make valid points, so I'll go against it. Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page, and 5 Alan Angels. Don DeConnie, you told us last week he was formerly known as Alan Angels. Put on a pretty decent match, pretty good. Alan Angels he's smaller, but once he got going, he can go. It took him a quick second. Hangman was all over him. Dark Order came out. They were pretty much out in full force. Everybody was there, it seemed like. I didn't really see them missing anybody other than Anna Jay. I don't know. She walked. Are they doing anything with that? Her name was in the graphic, too, for the tournament, but apparently, she walked back with them anyway.
Seen her since.
Yeah. But Brody asked Adam Page to join the Dark Order. He's like, you're about to get beat up and none of your friends are here. We'll keep you safe. And Page still said no, so he got beat up. Here comes FTR for the save. Clears the ring. And then here comes Kenny Omega after them.
Playing the part of Humberto Carrillo.
But at least, all right, to give Kenny Omega credit, at least Kenny Omega showed up. Like, Carrillo completely just blew it off.
Better late.
But Kenny Omega, I mean, apparently it's a long run from where the locker rooms are in the Jaguars stadium facility to where Daly's played, to where the auditorium is. But your thoughts on Josh? Your thoughts on Kenny Omega coming up a day late, $1 short on this one?
I think it's consistent with what they're doing, like with leading towards the breakup of the two of them. I think you laid it out pretty well last week that Omega is going to end up being the heel between these two when they break up. So I think this just goes right along with that theory. I really like the way they did that.
So I'm still like Omega jumped in the ring when everything was like, okay, you good? Okay. He's looking around, like ready to fight. He's like, you're good. You're good.
And he continued to look lost as the other three gentlemen cracked open and shared a beer, and he was just kind of hanging out in the middle there, like, where's my carton of milk?
So now we're back to the same question, whether it's Sasha Banks and Bayley or if it's Kenny Omega and Adam Page. The Dark Order, who've been the #1 contenders for the tag titles for a long time now, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, they're finally back in full force. They're going to get their shots at the tag titles. Both teams are undefeated. Let's just assume that the Dark Order is going to get that win tonight on Dark. Are we doing this now? Or what are we doing? John Smith.
I mean, I've thought that they were going to lose the titles the past 2 times, and I was wrong. I see them stretching it out further, to be honest with you. So yeah, I got the champs retaining.
All right, John Nakani.
Yeah, I'll go with the champs retaining, and maybe a mishap somewhere along the way, and we start to see the break in the foundation again, because it seems like every time we see a reason for them to start getting pissy with one another, the next week it's like, that never happened, and they go back to being, buddy. So maybe we get a little momentum going. Now, last week Omega wasn't there for him until, better late than never, but maybe this week it continues and we actually start getting rolling towards them breaking up.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's now or never, but if you're going to set up for All Out, and this is the team to do it against. They're the #1 contenders. They're undefeated. They're in this huge cult where, Brody Lee is the leader and everyone's working together. Like, those tag, if they get into the Dark Order, those tag titles are going to be tough to get off the Dark Order. So, I guess maybe that's the negative of them. They're winning this, but I'm gonna go. I'll go. Screw it. I'll be that guy now. I'm gonna go against Kenny Omega, and I'll go with the Dark Order on this one. I'm gonna do it. Do it now against those guys. 2 more quick matches booked for tonight. Like I said, we were watching videos trying to figure out who Warhorse is. I guess he's just an indie legend. Likes to talk in the third person. He's next up for the TNT Championship against Cody. Title defense. This will be number 7 for Cody, I believe, if I just did my math right, because what's his name was just 6. So, John Smith, I know who you got. John Nakani.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cody retaining. Maybe we start. 2 weeks ago, we started to hear Cody's schedule might be catching up to him. He had a little bump in that match. Maybe we start to see that a little more. We start to see maybe that title change is coming, but I certainly don't think it's going to be this way.
No, I don't see the Warhorse getting the job done here either. I'm waiting, because they had another segment of Lance Archer just flipping out backstage. I called that so long ago, and I really hope I'm right, 'cause I'm gonna replay that footage if I am. This is gonna go into Lance Archer gets his hands on him again. John Smith, who do you got?
Cody wins. It's obvious. I'm gonna watch the documentary Being Warhorse instead of watching this match.
Yes. There's a 10-minute documentary on Warhorse. I still have it on my page here. EVERIpedia. Everipedia.org. You can see the 10-minute documentary on the Warhorse. And then what was most likely to be the main event we talked about earlier, the Inner Circle is back in full force. Their one loss was in the Stadium Stampede against the Elite and Matt Hardy. They're going against a team that's calling themselves Best Friends and Friends, which is Chucky Taylor and Trent with Orange Cassidy and the Jurassic Express. The Jurassic Express, they were the one that took the bullets last week when Sammy came back. Who do you got in this one? John Smith, sorry. John Smith.
I got the Inner Circle. Now that they're back in full force, I don't see why they wouldn't be winning this match by any means necessary.
Yeah. 0-1. They lost the Stadium Stampede. They need to start getting some power back. I'm going to go Inner Circle too. John Connie?
Absolutely. As much as I was a little upset with Chris Jericho for breaking kayfabe in his backstage segment last week and telling the kids at home that Luchasaurus was not, in fact, a dinosaur, I think the family's all together and they get the W here.
I had to explain to my son the other day why. Yeah, that was horrible. Absolutely horrible that Chris Jericho just did. And that pretty much wraps up AEW, and that pretty much puts a bow on the show right now. Went long again. I thought I had everything nice and organized. We still went over 90 minutes. Let's pay some bills here real quick. Get the right graphics ready, I believe so. Let's see Tyler's beautiful face. The Primetime Rundown. I believe we are on episode 29, if I saw the graphic earlier, with Joey Zorzenka, Nick Partain, and the beautiful sheriff in the middle of the screen, Tyler Adele. This Friday at 8 p.m., not 6 p.m. on the graphic. We were going to get the graphic changed. It wasn't ready in time, and I just cannot put on a podcast without showing Tyler's face. It really brings out the sex appeal of the Primetime Rundown. But baseball is back. The Stanley Cup playoffs are starting on Saturday. The NBA playoffs are starting soon. This is a great time to start watching the Primetime Rundown if you haven't already. These three, plus their guests, they really know what they're doing. They really know what they're talking about. Our friends over at BellTime.com, subscribe to the Body Slam Brigade newsletter. This week's article was an interesting one about the roles and usage of lessons in today's professional wrestling, such as Jake Roberts, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard in AEW, MVP in WWE, and so forth. Really interesting read. Get their opinions. Again, that is minutestobelltime.com. And they are responsible for all of the graphics that you saw here tonight. All the stats are on them. They are our Elias Sports Bureau of professional wrestling. Next Tuesday, we will be back. Same bat time, same bat channel here on the Central Wrestling Podcast. 6 p.m. again with John Smith, John DeConnie. And then we also want to tell you about our SummerSlam special coming up on Saturday, August 22nd at 3 p.m. before NXT TakeOver 30. We're going to run down both shows, both SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver 30 in their entirety. Every match, we'll try to go into as much detail as possible, give you our expert analysis and our picks for those shows. So we're really looking forward to that. We're going to make it a special day for you, and definitely will be done in time for you to catch the pre-show of NXT 30. Make sure you like us, follow us, and subscribe on the I-95 Sports YouTube channel. Go to minutestobelltime.com to do all your research for wrestling. Then go to ProWrestlingPick'em.com to create your pay-per-view pick'em pool with your friends, or you can play along with us here at the Essential Wrestling Podcast in the Essential Wrestling Podcast pool. Anything else, guys, before we get to the very end? We're not going to go over the SummerSlam and TakeOver stuff I talked to you about. We're running way over time today. I do have to cry, though. Do you guys have anything to say before we get going?
Get it out.
No, I got nothing. I'll see you next week, buddy.
All right, sounds good. Glad having you on, John Smith, John DeConnie.
Much appreciated. Nah, nothing to add because I know what you're getting to, and it needs its time.
So Kyrie Sane put out these tweets last night during Raw, and unfortunately the rumors are true. that her time in NXT and WWE is over. The locker rooms were incredible. Everyone was kind, funny, and talented, so every day was full of happiness. Also, I was saved by the supportive staff behind the scenes. I will forever love and respect all these professionals I had the pleasure of working with. I was able to accomplish so much in the last 3 years, but it wasn't because of my ability or my strength. It was because of all of the constant warm support from me and the rest of the wrestling fans, and me as an Al Karl. I am so thankful I could meet you all. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Kairi Sane. So our pirate princess is going home, and good for her. Leaving on good terms, and I'm looking forward to the day, maybe about 4 years from now, 5 years from now. 3, 2, yo ho, no, 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 no. And she comes out, the pirate thing going. We're gonna miss you, Kairi. For John Smith, for John DeConnie, my name is Al Karl. Alexa Bliss, we love you. We always will. God bless your sweet soul. John DeConnie?
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us. And as always, we wish you the best in all your future endeavors. Fare thee well, Pirate Princess.
Fare thee well.